Hello, this is How to Make Amazing Homemade Salsa and All the Great Things That Go With It by Kenneth Erickson. So I'm going to explain how to make the salsa. I'm also going to explain how to make the chips that I think go best with it. Other than that, I'm going to show you some of the amazing foods that go with some of the salsa. So the things you'll need, you're going to need tomatoes, two or three, depending on how many cans of Italian style stewed tomatoes you're going to want. You want onions, cilantro, jalapenos, serranos, habaneros, garlic, and 2 cans of chipotle chilies. You're also going to need a blender and a pot of water. The preparations, you're going to want to put a pot of water on the stove and you're going to put it on high. While you're waiting for the water to start boiling, you're going to cut the onions in half and put both halves into the water. You're going to boil the onions to make them easier to be chopped up in the blender. It also gives it a little bit better flavor. Also, while the water is boiling, you're going to be putting the onion or the chilies, all of the jalapenos, the serranos, and habaneros, along with the tomatoes inside the water. This is going to make it so it's easier for the tomatoes to get chopped up in the blender, and it gives the chilies a little bit of a taste. You'll know when everything's done. The tomatoes start to almost peel themselves, and they start to almost burst at the seam. That's when everything will be done. The stems will fall off of the chilies. You put it all inside the blender and blend it up. Sometimes it takes 2 blenders to do it, so you'll do half and half. After it's blended, depending on how thick you want it, if you want it thinner, you're going to add some of the water that was boiled into it. If you want it thicker, then you're not going to add any that you want at all. You're going to add as much garlic as you want and blend it in, or cilantro, depending on how you want the taste as well. So now we'll get into everything that's done. So now, after it's done, I would recommend refrigerating it for 24 hours before you eat it. You can eat some of it then, and it's still really good, but just the full flavor of it and everything doesn't come out until about 24 hours after you've eaten it. Even the spice is a little bit better after 24 hours. All right, here we go. Things that you'll enjoy it with. The salsa is easily enjoyed with foods. I will show you some of my favorites. These are all things that I find are really good with it. Chips and salsa. Okay, so first, obviously, chips and salsa. But I find that this homemade salsa is better when you make it with homemade corn tortilla chips. So I'm going to explain to you how to make corn tortilla chips on the stove with a little bit of vegetable oil and some tortilla chips. So you can pre-cut them how you want. So you can cut them into the little triangles you want, or you can just get them the regular style and break them up later, whatever size you'd like. After you boil them, um, I'll show you in the next slide what you're gonna do. So after you've boiled them to however you want, however crunchy you want them, if you want them soft or crunchy, then you're gonna put them on the side, um, and you'll put however much salt on them that you want, or you'll not put any salt on them, and then you'll just have them with the salsa, and it's really good home eating. It's nice, cheap, and fast. Corn tacos. So if you make tacos, any kind of, well, really any kind of tacos, not just corn tacos, um, beef, chicken, steak, anything like that, this salsa will go really well on top of it. Fish. Now, any kind of fish, really. I've had it with catfish and halibut, but I've heard my family use it for generations on any kind of fish, and you can serve it with anything. And really, this salsa is going to give it that smoky, spicy taste that just is really hard to find. Guacamole. Now, you can have guacamole by itself. You can give it separate with the salsa and the sour cream, or you can mix them all together and make them one super dip. It's really good for all occasions, and it just makes the guacamole so much better. Steak. Now, I found the best steak is carne asada. Of course, most people put that inside tortillas and make tacos, but you don't have to. You can always do the carne asada by itself with a little bit of salsa, or even with some mashed potatoes, and it's really, really good. baked chicken. Now you can do the baked chicken by itself or with rice. I recommend doing it over the rice, like I put in the picture. It just really gives a third dimension for the flavor and everything. So I recommend the rice with the baked chicken. Spanish rice. Now you can do Spanish rice by itself, you can do Spanish rice with chicken, but if you really take all three of those together and you put them with the salsa, I really feel like you're gonna have some kind of rice that you've never had before. Spanish rice is great by itself, but with chicken and the salsa will be just perfect for what most people are looking for with Spanish rice. Nachos with a twist. Okay, now I call these nachos with a twist because most people put nachos with like jalapenos, and that's just it. You know, they do the cheese and the jalapenos, but if you do this kind of salsa on top of it, you really don't even need the jalapenos, because it gives it that really kind of smoky sweet taste with the chips and the cheese. And fajitas. Most of what are in fajitas are things that I've added in this slide already. Fajitas are just great. You can't do fajitas without salsa, and this salsa just kind of tops the chart for what you would do with fajitas. And that's really everything. I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoy. I hope you take what I showed you and do everything that I told you to do. Really appreciate you watching. Thank you.